Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Train Simulator with still guns. It's been a long time since I said with still guns on anything, to be honest, but that's by the by. Welcome back to Train Simulator. We're on the Portsmouth Direct line, the old Portsmouth Direct line, because it's a little less system intensive on my somewhat ailing PC. When I say ailing, it's a little poorly. It's hopefully something, nothing that can't be fixed. This is well, as you can see, it's a train. Obviously, a train that some of you probably think is ugly or hideous. But me, well, I used to think it was ugly, but it's sort of grown on me. A lot of things do that these days. This is an ancient electric multiple unit, or EMU, called the Class 421. The British Rail Class 421. There was a very similar looking unit called the Class 423. Those were distinguishable by a different trailer, I think, or different windows, one of the two. These things are built in the 50s or the 60s, I think it was 60s, and the vast majority of them were decommissioned and retired in 2004 to 2005. The very last two units were retired in 2010, which gave the entire fleet a service life of roughly 43 years, making them one of the longest lived trains in the entire United Kingdom. I just remembered to distinguish these from the Class 43. The 41s have less doors. 43s have a lot more doors. As you can see, because of the age of these units, these are not using automatic doors. They are slam door units, as they were affectionately called. Of course, that's kind of one of the reasons why they were decommissioned, because there was no way to really lock the doors effectively. As the train was pulling up to a station, there was nothing to stop the passengers from opening the doors whilst the train was still moving, and then potentially jumping out as they reached the platform, which, isn't exactly the safest thing and could result in some injuries. Health and safety and all that. So, when British Rail went through with its moronic privatisation scheme in the 1990s, one of the ultimatums given to the new train operating companies was to replace these old slam door units with newer trains. So these old slam doors, mainly in use on the southern lines down to Portsmouth, Brighton, and Eastbourne, all that sort of area. They were to be replaced, and most of them were replaced with the more modern Class 377 Electrostars, or the Electrostar series of trains. There was also the Networkers. There's a few other things in there, mostly Electrostars. Some of them are okay. Not all of them, though. They all kind of samey, but that's kind of by the by. These things. So, the Class 421, then, is based off of the British Rail Mark I coach, and had a fairly similar layout. I was on a Mark I coach in 2018 when I went to Tankfest, and gotta say, these compartments, not too dissimilar compared, they were a lot more detailed than this, but it was a lot like this, except when you got to here, and, well, I don't know about the rest of the train. I was only on one coach. Or was it two? I don't remember. But yeah, very similar to this. Mark 1 coach was a venerable coach used mostly up until the 1990s. They've seen mostly use. Their usage since then has been relegated to rail tours and the like. The Class 41 here is in the colours of Network Southeast, a British Rail subsidiary that was dissolved in 1994, more or less, when British Rail was privatised. And it's one of the most well-loved deliveries of British Rail. It's iconic, affectionately known as the Toothpaste Delivery, because it kind of looks like a tube of Colgate, or something similar, I guess, Crest, or something. It's a very attractive, clean livery, and nothing's really come quite close to it since. I'm kind of stalling here, so let's get on to driving this thing. I've set the destination to Portsmouth Harbour, which is 50 miles away, but we're not going all that way. We'll probably just take it down. This unit is quite an old pack, so this was released in 2011-ish. It was definitely after the London to Brighton line, which was a 2013 introduction. So this is probably 2013, 2014. It's an old pack, maybe older than that actually. I'm not really sure. There is an Armstrong Powerhouse sound pack for this, but it is about 10 years old because obviously these things haven't been mainline running since, well, 2010. There is, however, a Heritage Class 423 on the Bluebell Railway, which isn't that far away from me, all things considered, and that is mainline certified, and maybe one day they will be able to record the sounds it makes, which means the frankly aged sounds of this unit, of this pack, will hopefully be a thing of the past. Like these horns, the two-tone horn of this unit is frankly terrible. Just listen to this. Yeah, not a lot of love went into that. The horn is absolutely the worst aspect of this train, but there are some better things. So, let's get moving. Same thing with the Class 86 that I looked at, the reverser, except this thing doesn't have a tap changer, it's got a 4-step throttle, that's it. Because of this thing is so old, it takes ages to go anywhere. Top speed of about 90 miles an hour. Over there's the handbrake. Oh yeah, the AWS, I forgot, that's terrible as well. Yeah, you can barely hear the motor sound over the sounds of the wheels going over the rails. It's not a pack that really received a lot of love, but at the same time, it was one of their earlier packs. Oh, yeah, it's been months. I'm not a fan of the brake on this train. I'm not sure if it's a vacuum brake or an air brake. But the way it works is, no matter where you put it on the brake. Actually, I'm incorrect. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say, no matter where you put it, it always goes up to a 100% braking power, but that's wrong. So unfortunately, because of the age of this Armstrong Powerhouse pack, and also the the default sounds as well. It sounds more like a set of Mark 1 coaches than it does an EMU. You can barely hear the motor. I'm not sure if that's a quirk of these units. I'm fairly certain I've never been on one. Unless I was really young. I might have been on one, but I was really young and just don't remember. It's certainly been a long time since these things were in service. So we're going to stop at Guildford. It's the next station after Wattleton, which we're going through right now. Whoa! There we go. That was actually a pretty cool shot, if I do say so myself. Completely unintentional, but it worked. It doesn't have a passenger view, unfortunately. And as you can see, we're starting to really struggle to reach higher speeds. It reaches 80 and then it does slow because I don't like high speeds. Gorgeous train otherwise, but very old, and you can really understand why these things were retired. I mean, everything gets retired eventually. One day the electrostyles that replaced them will get retired. But these things really could not stay in service for much longer. Because they really just... yeah. They were built for a different time. Very noisy as well. As you can see, it's only got one headlight. The main lights would have actually been in the head code box. Another name for these units was the Southern Rail Code of 4SIG, CIG. Class 423s were 4VEP, or VEP. Depending on the number of coaches, the number of the unit changed. Also depending on the type of train. There was also the Class 422, the very similar 4BIG, which instead of a trailer coach here, it had a buffet coach. The 4BIGs though did not last very long, and they were eventually retired. To be converted into just straight 4SIG units. The 422 does come in its own train simulator package. However, it is not worth it because one of the career scenario it gives you is a nighttime mode career, but the thing doesn't have a headlight, so it's impossible to tell what the speed limits are unless you use this, the HUD. I really hope you heard all of that, because this train was a lot louder than I expected it to be, even though I've turned all the sound settings down. More or less as far as they'll go. Eventually the doors will be closed and the guard will signal us to leave. We'll hear a bell and then we can buzz back. Typically it's a bell back on these days. And there's the bell, and we buzz back. And there we go. We're ready to go again. This is a very simple train to operate. Maybe it's not going to be your favourite, but it's one of my favourites. And I do enjoy driving this train. I do hope we can get an Armstrong Powerhouse enhancement pack one day with updated sounds. I really do hope so, because it's a fascinating train, and I really do hope to see. I really do hope for it to get the sort of love that it deserves. That's it for now. I've probably made a meal of this commentary. In fact, I'm absolutely sure I have. I'll see you in the next one, folks, and good night.